Well, hello everybody, greetings from Tideswell in the Peak District. Not quite in Tideswell itself, we'll come to that in a minute, but I hope you're all having a good day. You're joining me here for walk number 13. I had to check, lost track. Walk number 13 from the Collins Rambler's Guide to the Peak District. And this walk's called Tideswell and Chee. And the walk in the book says it's a 6-mile, easy-going, level 2 difficulty walk. Now I did put it in on my route planner and it came out at 9.7 miles. So something's a little bit off there, isn't it? And actually when I looked at there's the elevation map. When I had a look at that one, it said that the whole distance was 13 kilometres, which is probably around about 8 miles. Now, just to explain this start of this walk, when I planned it in and looking at the map, the walk itself actually starts in Tideswell. It's maybe pronounced slightly different than that. Maybe it's Tideswell, not sure. But it should start in the village of Tideswell. Now what I'm going to do is, because I actually, on this it said start and finish. There's like a little notes bit at the side of the page. I'm trying to show you the right bit. Yeah, where walk 13 is there. On the left hand side it says start and finish. There is a car park at Tideswell Dale. So when I was doing sat nav on my car, I just put Tideswell Dale car park, presuming that it was going to be the right place to start. But looking at it, I should have started in the village of Tideswell, walked a route that takes me to that Tideswell Dale car park, and then carry on the rest of the walk. Now as it happens, well, we'll see how it goes time-wise and how tired I am, but I want to try and do the full thing. So what I'll end up doing is I've started in Tideswell Dale car park, see me turn left out of the car park and come along the road through a stile. But when I finish the walk and get back to Tideswell Dale car park, I'm going to walk all the way to Tideswell. It's about another mile there, a mile back, but at least I will have completed the walk as it is in the book. And plus, I want to try and see if I can have a good look at the local church there in Tideswell. It's supposed to be pretty spectacular, so lots to do on the walk, which I'm looking forward to. I think it's going to be a cracker. It's a beautifully warm day. I've realised I may have made a bit of a error. I've got a bright red t-shirt on. I normally wear my hiking t-shirts and stuff. I couldn't find them. I'm just worried now I'm going to walk through a field of cows with my red shirt on. I don't want to anger them. Well, we'll see. I've got me waterproof, so I can always stick that on over the top if I need to. But one of the things I'm going to be doing on this walk later on is cooking on my Trangia, and this is a really cracking dish. I'm really excited about it. So my eldest bushcraft daughter, Bushcraft Junior, I set her the challenge this morning of trying to find me something to make on my walk, and we thought it'd be quite funny because it's called Chee, that we do something with cheese. Maybe coming up with some sort of funny pun on Cheedale or Cheesedale. Anyway, she came up with some cheese quesadillas. I brought enough to make a feast for 4, I'm sure I have. There's going to be plenty left over. So yeah, I'm going to be making some cheese quesadillas. Don't need to be called cheese quesadillas. Quesadillas have cheese in, but we'll call these Cheedale quesadillas. And we'll see that in a bit. That's going to be pretty cool. Other than that, a 9.7 mile walk to do. Best get myself going then, yeah? Right, well, just to explain a little bit of what we've done so far, we've just been through a place called Millersdale, and the latest bit of woodland that we're walking through is called Monksdale. Now, Millersdale, it benefited a lot from the train line that got built that's now the Monsell Trail. A lot of tourists and people visiting there, which was pretty cool. So that's been, you know, part of the National Nature Reserve for a while. But this bit that I'm walking through now, this Monksdale, it was only acquired in 1972. Over 100 acres of land, and I have to say it's pretty stunning. Wow, just come out into some red hot heat. So the plan is to, once I've got out of this dale, there's a climb up to Worm Hill. I don't know how big it is or how steep it is, but any climb is going to be a bit of a challenge. So I'll get to the top of that, stop, have a drink, have a rest. I'm tired already. Presuming I'm kind of heading up to that. Here we go. So I got it wrong, didn't I? The bit of a climb that I did, it wasn't very big. It wasn't up to Worm Hill at all, I was still just walking through Monksdale. That was quite hard work actually, because it's a hot day. There's absolutely zero breeze in the woods. And you're following the path of what looks like a dried up riverbed. Well, now I'm out, there's a beautiful breeze. I needed that in there. Flies and midges everywhere. Lots of stones you're twisting and turning on. Had a couple of very minor mishaps. One vaguely major mishap where I was just steadily walking along and walked full pace into a tree stump that was, well, the branch of a tree stump that was sticking out, but I couldn't see it because it was in amongst all the nettles and foliage. So currently the front of my shin feels like I've been kicked by a goat. However, I'm now out of Monksdale, and I will be heading eventually up to Worm Hill, where I definitely will have a stop. No, I'm not going this way, but the Limestone Way, that is somewhere I'm headed next. Next month? Yeah, end of July. Walking the first sort of 20 miles of the Limestone Way over a few days. That'll be coming soon. But right now, we're heading along this public footpath, which, stupidly, I've just come out of the field and now I'm going back into the field. For reference, if you come out of the wood here, there's a path that leads you all the way along, and then up there, which is where we are going. So feel free to not come out of the field and back into the field. This is the up. Here we go. Still going up, but the obligatory turn around and see where we've come. Can't even see the path, the bottom of the path. That's how high up we've come already. So just passed through a very beautiful, actually, village of Wormhill, and I'm about halfway there now. Probably just slightly less than halfway. I've done about a couple of hours. Just had a bit of a stop on that bench, fueled up with water, and I had with me some banana chips and cashew nuts just to give me a bit of power and a bit of energy, because recently I've been doing these long walks and foolishly I've been getting tired, and I've not been cooking and eating until the end of the walk. So probably I need to be making sure I am snacking a little bit more than I am doing. And the memorial we just saw there is a memorial to very famous canal builder James Brindley, who was virtually illiterate apparently, but didn't stop him becoming quite an innovator during the 18th century, building some, or being the brains behind some fantastic canal building that went on, that, you know, part of that huge industrial revolution that we had in Britain. And leaving Wormhill, walking past that memorial, we're heading down now to Chee, and we'll also see Chee Tor, which is a 300 feet piece of rock, limestone I believe, which apparently at the top of it, we won't be able to see it, but there's remains apparently of a 3rd or 4th century AD Romano-British settlement, which I don't think it's been excavated. They say it's only really been seen from aerial photography, so any of my archaeological friends out there, maybe it's a project worth looking at. And then when we get down to Chee and Chee Tor, once we get down there, we've got to follow the path of the river all the way back to the car park. Once I get to the car park, I am going to keep going to Tideswell. So yeah, let's head down to Chee and follow that river. Flies are out. that church where we turned up that side street to head up onto the tops. But this time, we're not going back up by the road, we're sticking by the river, heading down here. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to say that that's Chee. Wow. Yeah. You can just see, well, you might not be able to see, there are a few carabiners screwed into the rock face, much higher up, so presumably it does get used a fair bit for rock climbing, abseiling. You wouldn't get me up there. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's very high. I'll stick to the road, thank you. Okay, here's the plan then. I will get the stove out in a minute, but I just want to quickly talk you through the ingredients that I need for this dish. So I've actually got back to the car. I will do the rest of the walk in a second, but I thought whilst there's a picnic table here, I can get myself set up, cook, and do all the bits that I need. Right, I've got 130 grams of barbecue chicken slices, but I'm probably only really going to use about 90 grams of that, so some of that is just going to get munched by me anyway. I've got some salsa, thick and chunky salsa, and the whole jar's 226 grams, but I only really need, if I get this right, I think I need about 30 grams, something like that. In fact, I will just check my recipe now. Yeah, about 30 grams, so be a couple of tablespoons of that. We've got some sour cream, which is just for dipping the quesadillas in afterwards. It's just a side, really. Per person, it's about half a tablespoon. So, 8 grams each, 16 grams for a 2-person portion. I brought the whole thing. I'm not going to be stingy. I love my sour cream, so I'm going to have plenty. I've got 8 just simple flour tortillas. What I've done is I've already cut these down to a size that will fit into the Trangia pan. And I've got 120 grams of cheddar cheese. The recipe does say that it should be Monterey Jack cheese, but I couldn't find any in the shop, so I've just gone for some cheddar cheese. I'm sure it'll be fine. So the first thing that I need to do, I'm going to use my Star Wars bowl that I brought. Into here, I'm going to put my chicken. Now, in typical Bushcraft Dave fashion, I have not brought with me a fork, a knife, a spoon, a spatula, nothing. I've brought the ingredients, well done Bushcraft Dave, but nothing at all with me. So at some point, I'm going to have to figure out how to flip the quesadillas over. I just need to grab a couple of sticks or something from the woodland. But anyway, some chicken. Now what I should be doing with the chicken, I'm going to remove some I'm going to eat. 130 grams in here. I only need about 85. So what I'm going to do, if I had a knife I'd be chopping it up, but I'm just going to tear the chicken up into pieces. So I've got lots of just little scraps of pieces of chicken. Come back to me in a moment. Right, so in there I've got my 80 grams or so of chicken. Obviously your recipe doesn't have to have chicken in. It could have chorizo, it could have bacon, could be vegetarian. We could maybe stick some like vegetarian substitute in. But sorry, I'm being disgusting. I'm licking my fingers because they're absolutely covered in barbecue sauce. Next thing that goes in is about 32 grams of salsa. So it's a good couple of tablespoons. Let's say that that's about 2 tablespoons. Let's go with that. Obviously, rest of the jar can go with me. Might even serve it on the side. We'll see. And all of that once mixing up with the cheese. Now the recipe doesn't actually say to put the cheese in at this point. When we do eventually heat up the Trangia and we start cooking it, they would say put the chicken and salsa mix on, then sprinkle the cheese on top. I'm just going to lump the whole lot in all together. Give it a mix. This needs to be, in terms of the size of portion that I've got, this needs to be about a quarter of this for each quesadilla, for each 2 tortillas. So a quarter of this for each of these. And like I say, because I've already cut these down, this is still a recipe for 2 people really, because I've taken what would have been normally a 10-inch tortilla, and I've cut it down to about like a 6-inch tortilla really. So it's about half the size when you take everything into account. Right, let's do another bit of nasty mixing with my fingers. I'm going to get all this mixed up, deal with aftermath, and then we're going to get the Trangia stove on. Okay, so we'll just let the pan heat up, and then the process is fairly straightforward. The tortilla goes on to heat through on one side. I put a quarter of the mixture that I've got onto the tortilla, stick a second tortilla on top, cook it for about 3 or 4 minutes, 4 minutes maybe on one side. This is definitely why I needed oil on it, because it's kind of stuck, and I didn't need it to be as hot as that. Oh dear, oh dear. They're not all going to be masterpieces. What we'll do is we'll say that one was just an experiment. We'll pretend it never happened. I'll do another one in a minute. It'll be perfect, and we'll just forget that whole thing ever happened. All right, we agreed? Cheers, everybody. Just give that other side chance to cook, but not burn. Okay, it's super hot. I'm going to try the other one. This is where the oil definitely would give me a chance to have it not stick, but because I've turned the temperature down, it should be less of an issue. Let's get the rest of this filling on it. Spread it out. Okay, while the other one's cooking, it's right here, I can keep my peepers on it. Just, we've not finished yet. I've still got Tideswell that I'm going to walk up to and go and see the lovely church up there and see what else Tideswell's got to offer. I did actually end up in Tideswell right at the very beginning, because to come here in the car park, you do need to pay for this particular car park, which is fine. But just like normal, I'm not organised, I've not got any money on me. So I went into Tideswell, got something from the shop, got some change. So yeah, it's like, it cost me about £1.50, but I came at 5 o'clock, so I only had to really pay for 1 hour. So you may need a few quid on you for that. But yeah, it's this perfectly cooked quesadilla. We'll ignore the burnt side. That's not there. That's not there. I will hope this other one comes out perfectly, but I haven't got the right tools. Again, whenever things go wrong in the cooks, other than just generally being incompetent, I'm fairly competent, but other than being a little bit incompetent, it's whenever I forget things that things go wrong, because the dish suddenly becomes very difficult to make. I reckon I need to flip this. Give me a second. It's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Yeah, so I think this is a pretty good dish, actually. Not a lot that I needed to bring with me. Lots of things that I did need to bring with me that I didn't sort out. To be fair, one spoon, one like fish slice spatula type thing, I'd have been all right with that. Now, regardless of whether that one's the other one is burnt, is getting eaten, because I'm hungry and I've got to fuel up for the next bit. The other thing I just want quickly to talk about before I get tucked into this, you'll have seen just before I started cooking the dish, I just showed you a picture of my new bag, my Osprey Talon 33. Really, really chuffed. I've been looking at this kind of bag for a while, and as you've seen in the previous couple of videos, I've had issues with my previous rucksack just coming undone. So really, really pleased with that. Super comfy. I will do a proper review of that later. I've just taken the other one off the heat now. I'm pretty happy that that one's going to be cooked. I'll come to that in a second. I've got the burnt one to have first. I believe you call it caramelization. I think that's what we're calling it. I just need to let the simmering cool down so I can properly and shut off that fire. And then yeah, give this a whirl. I say with a normal quesadilla, I'd have chopped it into, I think probably this size. I'd have probably chopped it into 4 segments, but I'm just gonna dive in as it is. Now then, ignoring the burnt bit, that's really tasty. For not needing to bring a lot of ingredients with me, and I'm still going to have loads of the salsa left, the sour cream. I've even still got these 4 little tortillas I've cut. So thinking about the recipe that I've had, cutting it down to size, each person could have 1 of these tortillas each if we were going to try and serve 2. I know normally when I'm hiking, I'll eat a 2-person portion because I've done a lot of miles, which is fine. But yeah, it's good, really good. I'll have some with some sour cream. Delicious. The cheese is oozing. Hopefully that'll die off in a second. If not, I'll sort it out again. But yeah, the cheese is oozing. The chicken and the cheese and the salsa. You can't really go wrong. that goes on the list of nice, simple dishes. It's a winner. The Chee Quesadillas. Super stuff. Right, I'll get this lot packed up, get this other one eaten, and then off to Tideswell. Right. So Tideswell is referred to as the Cathedral of the Peaks, and you can see why with this magnificent church. Built in the 14th century, when Tideswell was a wealthy community based on the lead mining. Fabulous place. It says in the book about Tideswell that it's almost got the feel of a town rather than a village. I mean, it goes on for absolutely, well, it's at least got to be a mile long high street full of fantastic old buildings at the bank in front of me and various other things. Absolutely beautiful place. I think I need to come to Tideswell and have a bit more of a look around when it's active and open. But this is where the walk should have started, at Tideswell, probably just parking up near the church. So we're going to head all the way back down now, back to the car and home. Well, as the sun sets and I head my merry way back to Tideswell Dale, it's time to sign off. It's been a good one. The walk itself has taken about, it's going to have been about 4.5 hours altogether. Probably about 4 hours walking, maybe just under, half an hour cooking. But it's been enjoyable. The weather's been nice. I think probably the hardest and worst bit, really, a couple of bits. The bit through Monksdale, lots, like you're walking through what is a riverbed basically, and it was difficult terrain. It was a bit slippy and and that's bearing in mind that it's been sunny for absolutely days and days, so it's like the driest it's going to be, but it was still a bit slippy. So if it was wet weather, please take care through Monksdale. But other than that, it was really that climb up to Wormhill, that village up there. That was quite challenging, but the rest of it's been pretty straightforward. So yeah, with hindsight, if you're going to do this walk with kids, or the idea of a 10-mile walk puts you off a little bit, then do effectively what I did, which was to park at the Tideswell Dale car park. And that way you can start there, straight off onto the walk, you get back to your car, and you just don't need to do the bit that takes you up to Tideswell, and then from you wouldn't have to start at Tideswell and walk down to that car park. And that's about a mile each way saved. So you'd have a couple of miles that you save for that. I reckon that in total, the shorter walk would be about 7.7 miles, which is longer than the book says, a couple of miles longer. And my walk taking in Tideswell all the way from the church, doing the route back to Tideswell, that would be about 9.7 miles. And then just reflecting on the food that I had today, it was really, really nice food. I messed up, obviously, with not having the right tools and things like that. But you know what? I still end up with some food at the end of the day. Some tasty food, some really simple food. I think if I was to have it again, other than bringing all the right things with me, there was an element to which I almost wanted it to be a little bit spicier. I don't know. Can't necessarily put it into words, because when I had some of the salsa separately, that was nice and spicy, but I guess the cheese and the chicken and the bread just dulled that spice down a little bit. It wasn't that it wasn't tasty, it was delicious, but maybe something else going in there that packs a bit of a punch. I know I've said it for a few dishes now, but chorizo would be fantastic in that. Now it's just time to think about what the next walk's going to be. I've got a busy couple of weeks coming up, so I'm not quite sure when I'm going to fit in another walk, but I will get one in at some point. It might be in about 2 or 3 weeks' time, but it's not a problem. I've got a few videos recorded ahead of schedule, so there'll still be something out each Sunday. But the next walk that I'll be going on will be walk number 14. It's called Eldon Hole, because it does take in something called Eldon Hole. But yeah, we'll have a look at that one. It's quite a short walk. It's about a 4-mile walk, so it's quite short. So what I'm thinking is, because it's a shorter walk, I'm going to try and do something that's a bit longer of a cook. I'm not sure what yet, so if anybody's got any ideas, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can come up with. I've still got a few other things knocking about that I can come up with, but yeah, walk number 14 will be the next one, Eldon Hole. At some point I'm also going to do a more comprehensive review of the Trangia stove, everything I've got so far, talking through some of the pros and cons, some of the things that I found out just from using it, really, little quirks that I've worked out or that other people have pointed out to me. So I'm going to do a video on that at some point soon. And also, once I've given this bag a bit more of a test run, I'll tell you a bit more about that. But on its first outing today, I absolutely love it. It is a lifesaver. Not only are the zips intact and nothing's falling out of it, which is the least you would expect from a bag, but also it's been super comfortable. I've been carrying a lot of weight today and I haven't really noticed that I've been carrying it. With my previous rucksack, my left shoulder was hurting quite a lot. I think because, you'll see on this there is a chest strap, but on my previous bag it didn't. And so I think I was always trying to I had to have my shoulders raised to keep things going. Yeah, definite benefits to this bag, but I'll tell you a lot more, give you some more of the details in a little review. Other than that, this is Bushcraft Dave. Thank you for joining me. And as always, see you in the next one. So alright, Dave, just come out on the hottest day of the year so far and do a walk through a wood with no breeze. Love it. Where's the camera? Are you there?